Death Stranding is the best video game of all time. You may discern from my take, but that's the beautiful way art works. Everybody has a different opinion about art, media, entertainment, however you wanna call it. I want to start this video with my own personal take about the game because I want to show you all what this game means to me and how it has changed my perspective on video games as a whole. This video was made because it is my own personal love letter to the game, and also to speak on how its unique nature ended up being both a blessing and a curse in the gaming community. If you're watching this video, maybe it's because you want to know what is Death Stranding all about. Maybe you heard about it because the sequel is just around the corner, or maybe because you're a big fan of the game like I am, and just wanna see somebody speak their mind about it. Either way, I really hope that you like this video and thanks for watching. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's start speaking about the game itself. What is Death Stranding? Well, Death Stranding is a post-apocalyptic Amazon delivery game. Well, okay, I'm joking. I'm pretty sure everyone has made that joke when describing DS, and I think it's a valid description of the game. Even if you're joking or trying to make fun of the game, believe it or not, it functions at its core as a delivery simulation game. But also, it's so much more than just that. We will be speaking about its story, unique mechanics, gameplay loop, and more ahead, but for now, let's keep on explaining what the game is all about. In all seriousness, DS is an action-adventure game which is set in a post-apocalyptic world that has gone to waste because of a mysterious event called Death Stranding. The world has been shattered by this event and all that came after it. There are ghosts named BTs, which are an acronym for beach things that are scattered all around the world actively trying to kill humans. Well, not really. I mean, these BTs, ghosts, are not really bad themselves, they're just trying to make a connection with us humans. But the problem here is that when a BT makes a connection with a human, its antimatter and our matter combining actually creates an event called void out, which is a big freaking explosion that can destroy entire cities without a single issue. Yeah, this game is pretty insane. Explaining everything will feel too crazy and weird to keep track of, so as the video continues and I show you more about the game, I will be explaining concepts and lore elements to you all. Our protagonist is Sam Porter Bridges, portrayed by the actor Norman Reedus. Sam is a porter, which are persons that make deliveries to different settlements or cities, and the porters are extremely important in the world of Death Stranding, because traveling is almost impossible nowadays, because the world is extremely dangerous itself. And not only because of the BTs, there's also timefall, which is rain that ages your body extremely quick, and also there are terrorists and raiders everywhere. The world is full of danger, and normal people like you and me couldn't travel or simply live in a normal way. That's where the porters appear. They take risks by supplying people with first need products like food and medicines while they are sheltered in bunkers. In the game, people are so precautious that when you deliver them stuff, they won't even come out to thank you or greet you. They use real time holograms to receive and thank you for your services. That's the type of world in which this game takes place, a harsh and unforgiving environment. If you actually think about it thoroughly, Death Stranding has one of the worst types of post apocalyptic scenarios we have ever seen in media. Comparing it with other horrible post apocalyptic scenarios like The Road, Fallout, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Crust, Mad Max, etc., I really believe that DS is one of the hardest worlds to live in after the apocalypse, and this is, in my opinion, a really overlooked aspect of the game. I believe almost nobody thinks about DS as a catastrophic event that will be almost impossible to survive and to overcome as a humanity will most definitely perish eventually. This surprises me, especially taking into account that the game has a lot of horror elements tied to it. From the very beginning, when we're introduced to the BTs, we see how frightening they are. Just by looking at how scared our protagonists are of them, if this isn't enough to scare you and make you think you wouldn't actually survive, then you're completely delusional. So, if this world is so harsh and dangerous, How does Sam actually manages to survive when completing deliveries? Well, that's because he has powers. Kind of. Our main character has dooms, which, for a lack of a better way of explaining it, dooms is like having powers. People with this condition started appearing after the Death Stranding started. In the opening scene, we see Sam and Fragile being hunted by DTs. Sam has level 2 dooms, and that causes him to feel the BTs, but he can't actually see them. Fragile, on the other hand, has more levels of doom, so she can actually see them. That's why in this scene, Sam is looking at the floor, following the handprints to locate the BTs, while Fragile is actually looking up, watching the BTs directly. This Doom's condition is brought up quite a few times throughout the game, but never actually explained thoroughly, so let's leave it as having powers. For example, Fragile has the ability to see BTs and also teleport. There are other characters with even higher levels of Dooms that can do even crazier stuff. So, going back to the main topic. After everything I have told you, the porters end up being indispensable for the human race to actually survive. That's why there are logistic organizations that dedicate solely to this, saving humanity with deliveries. There are two porter enterprises that we get to know of in the game, Bridges and Fragile Express. You actually begin the game being a private porter, but you are recruited by Bridges to carry on an incredibly important mission. You actually left Bridges in the first place for an unknown reason before the game's beginning, but after your mother, the President of the United States, now the UCA, creates the chiral network and sends your sister Emily to reconnect America, is kidnapped by terrorists, you are the only hope of the UCA to both rescue Emily and reconnect America. So far, I think everything about the game is decently clear. I know it is hard to understand and also to explain, but that's exactly one of the best things about this video game, its unique trait. The world building and the story of the game is so weird and surreal that it's pretty damn hard to understand. I remember the first time I played it, I was really confused by so many things. I didn't understand what domes meant, what are the BTs, the beach, etc. And actually, I don't even blame the developers or even Kojima for not finding a better way of introducing the player to the world and its story. This world in Death Stranding is entirely different to the real world. There are so many things to learn and discover that it is overwhelming and complicated to keep track of. Nonetheless, if you actually make an effort and try your hardest to go along with what the game throws at you, it will definitely pay off because the story of the S is one of the greatest I've ever experienced, and the complexity and the weirdness of the world really elevates the plot and every single aspect of the game. There are many important characters to talk about: Fragile, Amelie, Higgs, Guillermo del Toro, Viva Mexico, but I'm not here to deep dive into the story and the characters. The thing here is that the game has so much lore and story to talk about, both before and during the gameplay, that it will need a completely different video to speak about that, so let's not do that. We are going to keep it simple for now, but obviously I'm going to give background of important characters in due time throughout the video as we advance in our topics. I will stop speaking about the story now. As I said before, the game and its lore is pretty confusing, so getting into deep details of every aspect will end up being counterproductive for the purpose of this video. So let's move on to the next part of this video, which will be the gameplay. We have been speaking about the game's setting and story, but how does it affect the actual gameplay? Well, the answer is a lot. It really affects a lot of the gameplay. So, you, as Sam, are making deliveries to different cities and facilities with survivors to convince them to connect them to the chiral network. The chiral network is like the internet. It's a communication network that functions with the beach, which is like this game's purgatory, heaven, hell, however you want to view it. It seems like the beach is not bound to time, which means that the chiral network can be used to transfer massive data instantly. But most importantly, it will reconnect all the isolated cities and settlements in America to be, once again, a united nation. But there's a catch. You need to physically go to these cities to start the connection process. This is not only dangerous, but also reaching the city doesn't assure you that they will want to join bridges to be part of the chiral network. That's why in the game, most of the times, you have to convince the leaders of the cities and settlements to join you by making them important deliveries that can go from delivering medicines and resources to pizza. Well, I mean, the important thing here is that after completing these deliveries, they will be willing to join the UCA and you will be closer to fulfilling your dying mother's dream, which is reconnecting America. Now you may be wondering, if joining the chiral network is so good and important, why are most of the facilities you go to hesitant or even reluctant from joining it? Well, because of factors like fear of abuse by the government, desire of autonomy, or even uncertainty of the future of the UCA. We see these types of issues present ourselves for some settlements throughout the game, like the Elder, Peter Englet, the Musician, etc. Another reason why some settlements won't join you is fear of the terrorism. Previously, I mentioned Fragile Express, another logistics corporation that provided supplies to isolated cities in America. Well, they were on par with bridges back in the day. They were a great company until a catastrophic event happened. One of the members of Fragile Express, named Hicks, tricked them into delivering a thermonuclear bomb to Middle Knot City, which was completely destroyed after this event. It's because of this event that also many people don't want any type of relationship with the government or any external help. Honestly, I don't blame them. Here, the game presents a really interesting situation which makes a lot of sense. If I were a leader of a city or settlement that has been able to keep people safe without the help of the government, then why would I join them? Nonetheless, the connection is necessary to survive and rebuild society. Maybe the isolated communities have been able to survive for now, but eventually things are gonna get even harder for them, and the necessity for information, supplies, security, and survival will be much greater than freedom and fear. Well, it sounds simple enough, right? Does it mean this is an easy game to play? Well, it really depends on the player. As I mentioned before, the game consists of you reconnecting America through deliveries. This will be the gameplay loop throughout your whole playthrough, and this is both good and bad. For years, this has been the most criticized aspect of the game, and I get it. Obviously, a delivery simulation game is not the most appealing concept or genre, but it is so fun and deep within its mechanics that it is amazing how such a simple concept can be so rich and unique. So, let's start with your missions. 90% of the time, you will be tasked to make a delivery from point A to point B, and that's pretty much it. So now you might be wondering, where is the unique element of all of this? Am I just gonna be doing fetch quests like in Final Fantasy XVI? No, hell no, man. I hate fetch quests. This game is not a big fetch quest simulator. The way you actually approach these deliveries is what makes this game so deep, and all starts with route planning. This game commits completely to the delivery gimmick, so there's a lot of game mechanics based around this aspect. But instead of telling you about it, how about if I show you how it works and why it is so fun to actually play? Okay, so now we're gonna be starting to take on orders. We go to standard orders and we can see every single one that is available for us. We're gonna be taking these few missions and we're gonna start preparing everything. We can see an order summary, the details, and also the delivery cargo, which in this case is gonna be toxic waste. You can see that there's two options, the normal delivery and a premium one with different conditions. Okay, so then after making sure we got everything good with our orders, then we move on to fabricate equipment in case we need it, and then we go to delivery preparation in which we are gonna be loading everything to our bags. But the issue here is the weight. As you can see, now I have exceeded my weight limit, which is 145 kilograms, and you're gonna see that Sam will not be able to actually move freely because there's too much weight on him. So to fix this, we're gonna go back to our terminal. As you can see here, he can't move at all. He's really struggling. So we're gonna go back to the terminal And now, this time around, we will be fabricating equipment. So, we go to the tab of equipment and craft a power skeleton. This will increase our max capacity. This way, we will be able to carry the weight of the cargo. Okay, so now we can clearly see that Sam is no longer struggling to carry the cargo, which is great. So now let's make the delivery. First of all, we could go through the forest, which is filled with VTs, and struggle and fight against them, or we could go through the zipline network that I created and reach our destination in a really quick and easy manner. So let's do that instead. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be telling you all about this game's online feature because, yeah, even though this seems like a single player game, it is actually multiplayer. The way this works is that the equipment, the structures, and even cargo of other players can appear in your game. And you can actually interact and use them for your own benefit, for your deliveries or whatever you want to do. For example, that truck right there, I didn't even create it or build it. It is somebody else's truck and I'm just using it for my own deliveries. And actually, that's such a creative way of making a single player game actually have a multiplayer feature that elevates the gameplay because you don't know how many times I have used other person's structures or equipment and they have been of the greatest help. Also, it's an altruistic way of making your players interact with one another because you don't get actually something in return for helping someone. So it's purely out of your heart to help them. And this is amazing because it actually creates a cycle in which you are being helped, so you want to help other people, and then they are being helped, so they want to help other people, and then everybody's helping everybody, and the game just becomes magical. It's an amazing experience that I have never lived with any other game, and bro, I'm fascinated by this game, as you can see.
So, another really cool way to actually deliver your cargo in the game is with the use of PCCs. This is a tool that actually allows you to create structures, just like bridges, safe houses, watchtowers, cargo catapults, and many more. One of the best ways you can use this is to create a zipline network. With the use of ziplines, you can actually reach places in a really simple and easy way, avoiding a lot of dangers. For example, right now, I would like to reach Luden's Fan. There's a place where I gotta deliver a cargo, and it will be actually pretty hard for me to deliver all of these in a truck because it's on the middle of the mountain. Also, there's another issue. This area is filled with VTs, as you can see with the online signs. So I can create a zipline network starting from here and then going from here to here, then here, then here, and finally connect it with this other online zipline that it was already created by YellowDog0101. Thank you, bro. And finally reach Luden's Fan without a single issue. So, with this said, let's see how it goes.
Okay, so now that I actually created the zipline network, let's start taking the cargo out of the truck, unload it, put it on my back, and go straight to the ziplines. I actually only did one more zipline. I used both ziplines that were already created previously. And yeah, I mean, this is such a great way of traversing the map. Also, it is pretty beautiful, as you can see with the rain and all the weird elements that this game has. It actually looks pretty beautiful. So now we can reach our destination really quick and easy without a single problem in terms of VTs or with the terrain, which is great. Unfortunately, you won't have ziplines throughout the whole game, so sometimes you will have to sneak by the VTs, sometimes you will have to escape from them actually, pretty cool, and sometimes you will have to fight them, especially against bosses. So, after watching this little piece of gameplay, I just want to say that I love this gameplay loop. The routing, the strategy behind every order, the setting, the ability to just chill while playing this beautiful looking game, for me is perfection, and will always be. Maybe that's not the case for you, and that's a key reason of why I'm actually doing this video. I want to discuss the curse of being this unique. I believe being unique in so many aspects like story, gameplay, game mechanics, world building, dialogue is the game's greatest strength, but at the same time its worst weakness. It all depends on the player, right? At the end of the day, the players dictate if a game is worth their time or not. Death Stranding has divided the gaming community since the day it was revealed. I don't blame them people that didn't like the game before even playing it. The nature of DS itself will make you feel uninterested or really interested and invested on the story and its characters and the gameplay. And I really admire what Kojima Productions actually managed to create with Death Stranding. It is a testament not only for game making, but also of art in a way I've never seen before. DS is not for everybody, and that's okay. Art is not made for everybody to enjoy or to fall in love with. I don't believe DS was created to compete against Call of Duty, FIFA, Minecraft, or any type of popular game. This is a work of art that will only resonate with any specific audience. But I can tell you this, playing Death Stranding is an amazing experience that I have never gotten out of any other game. This really changed my perspective on the gaming industry by how beautifully well done this game is. It is more than a game. It's almost like a movie. It's an experience. But I know that's also pretty controversial. The so-called game movies like God of War Ragnarok, The Last of Us, The Order 1886 are not always well received because the gameplay can be overshadowed at times by a lot of cinematographic elements like long cutscenes, boring missions to advance the story, short gameplay moments. At the end of the day, a game is meant to be played, right? And it really can be tedious or boring to watch a cutscene that is 1 hour long. Death Stranding is a game movie, but it is great at it. Every single cutscene, lore exposition, the cinematography, the art direction, the graphical fidelity, the music, the design, the acting performances, every single element is of the highest quality. Even if you're totally confused with the world or the story, you really can't stop watching it, wondering what is happening in this weird place. What crazy stuff you will experience next? What is the next step the protagonists are going to take? Where are we going with the story as a whole? With this game, you can't stop wondering what's next. And once again, I have to tell you all that if you follow the story and you actually take your time to understand what's happening, the ending will blow your mind. I really want to speak my mind about it, but I will restrain myself from doing it because I don't want to ruin the experience of actually living through every moment that the game throws at you. If you don't actually like the gameplay or you just want to know the story of the game, I really recommend you to watch a story analysis of Death Stranding by Ginji. It's a great video. He explained Death Stranding in an incredibly clear way and it is extremely well done. This game is not for everybody. Me personally, I was completely hooked from the very beginning. I found the world and gameplay loop so great that I was never bored or even disappointed. That's the issue with this game. It is so unique and brilliant in its own way that it is impossible not to push away many potential players. Being this unique ends up being a curse and a blessing. Hideo Kojima created a game that will bring you amazing experiences that you will never get from any other game, but only if the game appeals to you. You can't force yourself to like the game or the story. I do think it's pretty sad thing that many people will not be able to experience this game because they don't see video games as an art form. I used to be like that before. I used to see video games exclusively as an entertainment product. I was a casual gamer that only played COD, FIFA, and GTA. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I was really missing out on so many great games and experiences by being this way. Death Stranding actually opened my eyes to see the gaming industry as a true art form. Video games are made with passion, creativity, vision, desire, and self expression. I love video games, and I love that my perspective on them has changed drastically after experiencing Death Stranding. Thanks to this, I have been able to try out so many new games that I've never imagined myself playing, like Baldur's Gate, Dark Souls, Expedition 33, and many more great games that have given me so many happy memories and unforgettable experiences. And as I told you in the beginning, this is just a love letter to the game. It is my favorite game, and I really, really wanted to talk about it. This video is really lackluster, and I know it. I will get better at it with time and practice, but I do appreciate that you stayed until the very end. I'm ready for that Stranding 2, and I hope I will be seeing you there too. Thanks for watching.